From the land of 10,000 lakes and just as many heartaches, welcome to the 301 Show. We're here to celebrate, commiserate, and maybe, just maybe, see a Minnesota team win it all. Whether you're dreaming of a Vikings Super Bowl, reliving the glory days of the Twins, or still recovering from the Timberwolves roller coaster, we've got you covered. This is the 301 Show, where the North remembers and the passion never fades.
Yes, welcome into episode 37 of the 301 Show. Glad you could join us today for this one. We've got another Russo report on the Kirill contract situation. Fleury is playing one more NHL game, and the Vikings could not stop the kid out of Texas, Bijan Robinson, this Sunday, and they take on the Cincinnati Bengals, the Burrowless Bengals, on Sunday. All right, so let's start with that Russo report. He did say that I'll read you a direct quote here from Russo. Russo said, quote, he said, I don't, and when he says he here, he means Bill Guerin talking about the Frank Cervelli report saying that Kirill turned down 8 years at $16 million per year. So Russo is talking about the quote that Billy Guerin said that he didn't know where that report came from. So Russo's quote is, he said, I don't know where this came from, which, by the way, he does. I guarantee you he does, because I know where it came from. So, again, Bill Guerin went on 10K Takes, and they asked him about the Kirill situation. He was on that show, I think, the day of the report coming out, and they asked him about it. And he said, I don't know where it came from. It didn't come from our camp. It didn't come from Kirill's camp. So, because he said that, that is not him denying that report is true or false. That's not him denying anything about the report. It's just him saying, I don't know where it came from. Russo also said that he's not aware of any contract talks. So he said that he thinks both sides are going to take a break for a little bit, and not talk about it, and basically take a breather on contract talks. He also said, there was talking about the report that the Wild asked Kirill what his teams were that he'd be willing to go to. Russo said that he has not heard anything about that. And I do tend to trust Russo a lot more than a lot of other insiders, and I trust Russo more than I trust Bill Guerin going on a podcast to talk about that. So I tend to believe, because he gets a lot of these things right, and his sources tell him a lot of these things correctly, that I tend to trust Michael Russo's reporting a lot more than other stuff. So that is both a good and a bad thing for the Wild. It's that they're taking a breath. It's a good thing that they are taking a breath, and a bad thing because good thing because they will probably reconvene later. Bad thing because they're not getting the contract done now. And great thing for the Wild that they're not asking for his teams, or that Russo isn't hearing anything about the teams being asked for. So the Russo did put out a tweet from this is from bookies.com. They listed the 8 teams and then the odds for the field to be Kirill's next team. So the best odds are the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 400. This is from bookies.com. So Carolina Hurricanes plus 400, Detroit Red Wings plus 450, Chicago Blackhawks plus 450, Minnesota Wild plus 550, and then New York Rangers, Flyers, Boston Bruins, Pittsburgh Penguins, and then the field is plus 950. So again, it sounds like there's still a pretty good chance that he returns to the Wild based off of these odds. I think that Vegas is going to want to make money, so the fact that they have the Wild at this good odds, being is third best, but I think a lot of that is being driven by that Frank Cervelli report that he turned down, and I also think too. Again, I think I said this last week. This him turning down that contract, that offer. I've seen a lot of people talk about how much more do you think he could get next offseason. He's not going to get 20 million. I don't think it's a dollar value issue. I think it's a term issue. I think it's the fact that the Wild want him on an 8-year deal, which again every Wild fan wants Kirill Kaprizov on an 8-year contract. But I think Kirill doesn't want an 8-year contract. I think Kirill wants a 4 or 5-year contract. And not in a lot of they talk about the prove it deal for a player. I think a 4-year contract is a prove it deal from Kirill saying prove it to the Wild that they're actually going to be contending for a Stanley Cup. I think it's a prove it deal for the Wild, not Kirill Kaprizov. So again, I think that there is not a ton of reason to panic right now. I think there becomes a lot more reason to panic on by game one. If he's not signed by game one, that panic meter is nearing the top at that point. I think that there is a lot more reason to panic if he is not signed by game one of the 25-26 season. So again, I'm not panicking right now, though. I'm not panicking. So yeah. Then move on to Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury, again, he announced his retirement, that he was going to retire from the NHL. Last season was his last season in the NHL. But he agreed to officially retire as a Penguin. He agreed to that short-term deal with the Penguins just to basically say, I retired as a Penguin. And that contract included him playing one preseason game for the Penguins. So his last NHL game, it's a game that won't matter, but his last NHL game will be for the Pittsburgh Penguins. His career comes full circle. He was drafted number 1 overall by the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2003, that loaded 2003 draft class. And he will end his career with the Pittsburgh Penguins, which, again, I think is absolutely fantastic to see. I think I love seeing him in that jersey and being a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So great to see him retire as a member of the Penguins and play his last game for the black and gold. So moving on to the Frost now. There's no new news with the actual Frost, but there's a rule in the WCHA at the Division I level. They will allow players to high stick the puck, including to score. This does not change the fact that you can't high stick a player in the head. That is still a penalty. This is just as an experiment to see how it goes in the WCHA. The Minnesota head coach Brad Frost is in support of this rule change, and my guess is because the PWHL and that doesn't have like a minor league system, they are implementing this rule in the WCHA to test whether it's applicable or not, and could be implemented in the PWHL. So again, if you're a WCHA fan, look for that this upcoming season, and yeah, we can discuss that more as the season gets underway. Moving on to predictions. Again, nothing has come off the board for the Rinkside Rundown here, but I've got 3 new ones going on the board. Um, First prediction is that, excuse me one sec. Oh, I apologize for that. First one is that Philip Gustafson records at least 2 shutouts before January 1st, 2026. Second predictions is that in the 25-26 season, the Wild and Panthers will split the regular season series. They play each other twice, so I think they have 1 win and 1 loss. If that loss comes in overtime or whatever, that doesn't matter. It'll just be 1 win and 1 loss for 1 win for each team, basically. And then the Wild will beat the Avalanche in overtime more than once this year. They play each other a couple times. I believe it's 4 times throughout the year. They will play each other, or the Wild will beat the Avs in those games in overtime at least 2 times. So it could be 3 or all 4 times. It will be at least twice though, in this upcoming regular season. All right, moving on now to the Wolves Den. Got a couple of new updates here. We will start with the Lynx because they are in the playoffs now. The first round, they did win their final regular season game against the Golden State Valkyries. Not that it mattered too much, but they had already locked up the 1 seed at that point, and they were on an absolute tear. But good to get, the last, trying to win as many games as you can. But, win the last regular season game too. In the first round, they are taking on said Golden State Valkyries in a best-of-3 series. They played game 1 I can't remember what day it was. I'm recording this on Wednesday. I believe it was Sunday that they were playing. And they won game 1, 101-72. Nafisa Collier put up 20 points. She was 7 of 11 from the field. She was 5 for 5 from the line. And she had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Again, I'm recording this on September 17th, Wednesday. They play tonight. The Golden State Valkyries host the Minnesota Lynx tonight, the 17th, at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So they've got a chance to close out the series in 2 games, in the minimum amount of games tonight, and move on to the semifinals. It is just 8 teams that make the playoffs. The NBA has 8 teams per conference that make the playoffs, so 16 teams. So this is 1 round shorter than the NBA. And so if they win tonight or win game 3, they will move on to the league semifinals. On the Timberwolves side, we've got a couple of updates here. The NBA Insiders Power Rankings ranked the Timberwolves at number 11 in the entire NBA. They broke it down based off of players, money, draft, market, and management. And so those 5 categories evened out to rank them number 11. And I've got the actual numbers for each of them right here. The players, they have ranked at number 7. Money is 26. Draft is 28. Market is 30. Management is 10. So, again, 7 might seem about right for players. Money, that's a question mark. I'm not entirely sure. They probably put him at 26 because it's a question mark with the new owners coming in, Lori and A-Rod. They just want to make sure that they do have the money. But they do have Michael Bloomberg as a minority owner. They brought in Michael Bloomberg in that ownership group. So they should have enough money on that part. The draft being 28th, I can understand that, this past draft being 28, because they did not draft for right now. They drafted 2 bigs that are more projects and might take longer to develop. But you have 2 bigs already in Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert that are going to be taking up a lot of those minutes this season. And Julius Randle too is technically considered a big. So you've got three guys ahead of them. But then when a Rudy Gobert starts to you know go down in production and playing minutes, then you can have is it Johan Berenger? Johan Berenger stepping in because he is the 18-year-old Rudy Gobert duplicate clone. He's French. He's a defensive, very good defensive player, and but is a year or two away from making an impact in the NBA. And so yeah, I can understand them being ranked 28th because of that. Market being 30, I don't understand that. The Minnesota, the Twin Cities, are a middle of the market pack. I think they're ranked around 15. I think fans are more enthusiastic about this team than ever before. I also think because of the like the Twins not performing well and the Wild choking consistently in the playoffs, I think more fans are excited about the Timberwolves than ever before. So I don't understand the market being ranked dead last. 30th is dead last in the entire NBA. So I don't understand them being ranked 30th in the NBA. And then management being 10. Again, you can question some of these decisions that Tim Conley has made and his staff have made, but for the most part, they've all worked out so far. And I don't understand them being at 10. Like, they are closer to 5 to me than 10. Now, again, can't put them at number 1 because they haven't won a title yet. So I get that part of it, but I don't understand. 10 still seems low to me. And so if I have at least 3 of the 5, or 2 of the 5 for sure being way too low, the players being right around right, draft being right around right, money being a question mark of I don't know. But that seems like that should average out to higher than 11th place in the NBA. And again, I don't think that they are going to be number 1. I don't know how you can put them above OKC, who just won the championship and his average age seems to be like 22 years old. I don't think you can put them above OKC right now, for sure. But outside the top 10 seems crazy to me. Outside the top 7 seems crazy to me. So I don't, and again, I'm just a guy with a microphone. The NBA insiders probably have people they're talking to across the league. But I don't understand that ranking. And their write-up about it was that because they lost Nikhil Alexander-Walker, their wings are going to be taking a step back, which sure, maybe. But if that is, you still rank the players at number 7. If that's the reason that you put them at number 11, the players were still the highest rated. Like, that can't be the reason that you knocked them down to 11 if it's Nikhil Alexander-Walker. So I don't understand the rankings. I really don't. So good news for the Timberwolves, though. They do have a new stadium update. Matt Caldwell, the new CEO, and he is running the business side of the Timberwolves. He did say, again, good and bad news. Bad news is it will probably take at least 5 years by the time they are able to get it proposed to the city of Minneapolis and that and make sure they have the revenue for it. And then actually it's starting to be built. And by the time, so it's at least 5 years from now until it would be done. With first game in the new building would be 5 years from now, at least 5 years from now. But the good news is they did say it is a huge priority for them. So they are focusing on getting a new stadium. So again, that's fantastic to see. Target Center is the second oldest stadium in the NBA, just behind Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden isn't going anywhere. They also got I think it was like a $1 billion plus renovation recently, so that they have updated. So in terms of the oldest stadiums that need to either be torn down or completely renovated, Target Center is the top of the list. And I think it needs to be torn down. But yeah, moving on to predictions here. Had two come off the board. I said that Collier will be back for the playoffs and score 30-plus points in Game 1. She only scored 20. And I said the Lynx will win their final regular season game of the year, and they did win that. So that brings the total on the season up to 24 correct out of 74 total predicted for 32%. Move on to three coming on the board here. First one is that the Lynx will win Game 2 by 25-plus points. Second prediction is that the Lynx will allow 85 points or less in Game 2. And then the third prediction is that the Lynx will score 100-plus points in Game 2. So if the score is 110 to 85, all three of these come true. So, yeah, this is my three predictions for this Wolves Den segment on episode 37. All right, I just want to take a moment real quick in the middle of this episode here. We will get back to regularly scheduled programming in just a second, but I do have an announcement here. The 1-year anniversary of the show is coming up on the 24th. I believe it is 1 week from when this episode is being posted. If you are watching this on the day that it is posted, it is September 24th is the 1-year anniversary. We will be doing a 1-year anniversary special for that one. So down below in the description, I have the email address for the show. Again, it is frozennorth30@gmail.com. If you want to ask me a question for the 1-year anniversary special, email me at that email or leave a question down in the comments. I will be compiling a bunch of questions. I already have a bunch of questions. I asked this question on Instagram a few weeks ago. I got some responses. I'm more than willing to answer any question that gets sent my way. So if you have a question, it has to be Minnesota sports related. I'm not answering any other questions. So if you have a Minnesota sports question, please let me know down below in the comments. I will answer basically anything and about Minnesota sports. So again, let me know. Email me. Leave a question in the comments. Contact me somehow, and I will answer them in the 1-year anniversary special. All right, back to the episode 37. All right, moving on to Target Field Talkers now. I will quickly go over the team rankings because it doesn't really matter at this point, but they are 66 and 85. They are 4th place in the AL Central. They are 11th in the AL Wild Card. Batting average ranks 22nd. On base percentage ranks tied for 19th. Slugging percentage is 14th. On base plus slugging is 15th. Runs scored is 20th. Home runs, they are 11th in home runs. They have 182 home runs. Walks, they have 19. They're 19th. Strikeouts is 15th fewest, right in the middle of the pack. Stolen bases, they have crossed the century mark on stolen bases with 103. That is 17th. The team ERA is tied for 24th. That is 4.62. 1.33 whip, that is tied for 23rd. They used to be up in the top 10 in whip. Strikeouts, they have 1,270 strikeouts. That is 14th most. Walks, they are 434, which is tied for 3rd. They've committed 77 errors, which is 17th, and a fielding percentage of .985, which is tied for 17th. They played 3 games at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks this past weekend. They won game 1 of that series 9-8. Arizona scored 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning, and to make that game 8-6, the Twins scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th to win that one 9-8. So fun game to watch at the end of it. Game 2, they lost 5-2 in 10 innings. They were down 2-0, came back and tied it 2-2, and then got 3 runs scored on them in the 10th to lose 5-2. Game 3, they lose 6-4. And then they had welcomed the Yankees to town for 3 games. Game 1, they won 7-0 on the back of Simeon Woods Richardson. Absolutely fantastic game from him. He pitched 6 innings, let up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 3 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Again, that might be one of, if not the best games of his career. Just knowing how poorly the Twins have played against the Yankees in the past. So he was able to overcome that part of it. But yeah, they blow out the Yankees in the first game of this series. And then they go down 10-1 after the 4th inning in game 2. And they score 8 straight runs to make it 10-9 in the 9th inning, but then lose by that score. Game 3 is tonight at 6:40. They have not played that game yet, September 17th. They look ahead here. They have 3 series to end this season. They've got a 4-game series at home this weekend against the Cleveland Guardians. They do have a doubleheader on Saturday, as one of them was a make-up game from a rainout earlier in the season. Then they take on the Texas Rangers in Texas for a 3-game series and close the season on a 3-game series in Philadelphia. So the 4-game series against the Cleveland Guardians is the last 4 home games at Target Field. They have been officially eliminated from playoff contention, so they are going absolutely nowhere except for back home after Philadelphia. The biggest news coming out is, again, this is all allegedly reported. This was reported on by Dan Hayes. It was in an article I read written by Tony Liebert. The Poleads are cutting the pro scout department from 5 down to 1. So they are trying to save some money there and cut that pro scouting department from 5 to 1. We'll see if they make any additions in the offseason, but for now they have those pro scouts. It's just a department of 1 at this point. Again, I don't really have anything else to say about the Twins at this point other than it is finally over. They are officially eliminated from playoff contention. Realistically, I think they were eliminated on August 1st, the day after the trade deadline. Moving on to predictions, had 6 come off the board. We will start with the bad. I said the Twins will win 5+ playoff games this year. I made that prediction back in like October. So obviously not coming true. Said the Twins will make it to the ALCS. Very much not true. Twins finish 2nd in the division. That is also not true. Yankees sweep the Twins. That became incorrect in the first game. But then we go on to the good here. Said that Brooks Lee will play 125+ MLB games in 2025. And the Twins will miss the playoffs. Both of those being correct makes my total correct up to 20. And that'll be out of 71 total predicted for a percentage of 28. Moving on to the 3 coming on the board here. First one is that Rocco will be fired by the All-Star game in 2026. I have a very similar prediction on the board right now. I said he would be fired by the end of the season. I'm just basically making a new prediction and extending that deadline. Second prediction is that the Twins will lose 7 or more of their final 11 games. So including the Yankees game tonight, and then the 4 against Cleveland, and the 3 against Texas, and the 3 against Philadelphia. They will lose 7 or more of those games. So they will win no more than 4 of them. And then in that 4-game series against the Guardians, the Twins will lose at least, or not at least, the Twins will lose exactly 3 out of those 4 games. So if they lose any other number, if they win either 0 or 2 or more games, this prediction comes wrong. I want this to be exactly 3 out of 4 games lost to the Cleveland Guardians. All right, final team segment here of episode 37. We'll have the power rankings up next. But for this segment, we've got the Nordic Report here. I will go over the season rankings here. We've got the team, offense, defense, and special teams. We'll look back at the loss to the Falcons and look ahead to the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. So the season rankings, will start with the team part of this. They are 1-1 on the year. They are 1-0 in the NFC North. They are tied for 7th in the NFC seeding, which I think due to tiebreakers, I think they are technically seeded 10th, but record-wise, they are 7th in the NFC. The NFC North ranking, they are tied for 2nd with the Detroit Lions behind the Green Bay Packers. So 1-1. Their offense through 2 games is getting 226 yards per game. That is ranked 31st. 16.5 points per game. That is tied for 27th. On third down, the offense is 7 of 23 for 30.4%. That is 29th. On fourth down, they've gone for it twice. They've gotten it once. That is 50%, which is tied for 17th. The defense is letting up 321.5 yards per game. That is 17th. Points against per game, the defense is allowing 23 points against per game. That is also 17th. On third down, they have stopped opponents 18 of 27 times for 66.6%. That is tied for 7th. Fourth down, they are 1 for 1 on, and that is obviously 100% tied for first. Have not allowed a fourth down conversion in the one attempt that the Bears made. Special teams. Will Reichert is still 4 of 4 on the field goals, which, again, obviously tied for first. His long is tied for third with 59 yarder in that Chicago game. Extra points, he is 1 for 1, tied for first. Did not have an opportunity to kick an extra point in the game against the Falcons. In that game against the Falcons, the Vikings did lose 22-6. Bijan Robinson, again, was the absolute knife there that kept it was death by 1,000 cuts, it seemed. He had 22 carries for 143 yards, 3 receptions for 25 yards. It seemed like he kept getting anywhere from 5 to 10 yard gains, and just the Vikings defense just could not stop that. Obviously, he did not score any, but they just could not. They just held the ball. They just didn't allow the Vikings to possess the ball too much. Penix was 13 of 21 for 135 passing yards. He had 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and 2 sacks. J.J. McCarthy, on the other hand, 158 passing yards, 0 TDs, 2 interceptions, 6 sacks. He had 5 carries for 25 yards. He fumbled the ball 3 times and lost 1 of those 3 fumbles. Jedis had a decent game. He had 3 receptions for 81 yards. He didn't have any. The Vikings obviously didn't score any touchdowns, so he obviously didn't score. Miles Price had an okay game. If you look at just the returns, he had 9 returns for 141 yards on punts and kicks. He did muff one of them on one return. So again, kind of balances out in terms of just the returns for how many yards. It was another very good game for him. But with that muffed kick that he didn't, again, wasn't super great. Again, this game should have probably been a lot worse. This game probably should have been closer to 30-6, because the Falcons had 2 drives in the first quarter, I think, that got stalled out in the red zone, and so they kicked 2 field goals. That was not because of Brian Flores' defense. That was because the crowd was being so loud, and Michael Penix couldn't hear the play call. They couldn't hear his cadence, and the crowd had 0% to blame on this one. So, again, fantastic work by the crowd. Will Reichert, again, was also amazing. 2 for 2 on field goals. He made it from 51 and 33. Jordan Mason looked a lot better than Aaron Jones, which we'll get to Aaron Jones in just a second here. But, yeah, I don't know. It just, play calling wasn't that great. I thought the play calling in this game was way worse than the play calling against the Bears. I also thought Ivan Pace Jr. didn't look the greatest in this game. So a lot of things to clean up before the Bengals come to town on Sunday. Joe Burrow is hurt. If we look on to this game, they are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow has turf toe. He will be out. I think they said he needed surgery that requires a 3-month recovery period. So he will be out for 3 months. So they will not be facing off against Joe Burrow this season. That game is at noon at US Bank. The Vikings hold an all-time record of 7-8 against the Cincinnati Bengals. That record was 7-6, but they have lost the last 2 games. The last one being the Nick Mullins game, and was it Jake Easton, whatever his name is, Browning? I can't remember what the Bengals now starting quarterback's name is. But he balled out in that game in Brian Flores' first year with the Vikings in 2023. So that was their last game that they played against the Bengals, was just a few years ago. This will be the battle of the QB2s as Carson Wentz takes over, because J.J. McCarthy has a high ankle sprain and he will be out. With him out for this game is obviously J.J. McCarthy, Ty Chandler, and Blake Cashman. All 3 of those guys are listed as out right now. We will see. I have not seen the report that came out today. That might have changed. Again, as of now, listed as questionable is Andrew Van Ginkel, Harrison Smith, Jeff Okudah, Austin Keys, Christian Darrisaw, Aaron Jones. I do think I saw Aaron Jones is actually out for 4 weeks, so I think I change him to an out. Aaron Jones is out. So, but then Gabe Murphy and Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly is out with a concussion, his 4th concussion of his career, so not a great sign on that part of it. They did agree to terms with Desmond Ridder, and to me that means one of 2 things, or both of these 2 things. Signing Desmond Ridder means either they think J.J. McCarthy is going to be out for longer than they expect, or 2, and more realistically, Max Brosmer is not ready to go to be the QB2, and they needed someone that just had NFL experience to fill in to be the QB2 while McCarthy's out for a week or 2. That is probably the more likely solution. And if I had to guess, this is just educated guess. I'm not speaking from. I don't have any insider information on this. I don't have any other information than me just speculating and guessing here. If I had to guess, J.J. McCarthy is probably going to be out the next 3 games. He's going to be out at home against the Bengals, in Dublin against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and in London against the Cleveland Browns. That will give him 3 weeks of 3 games he's missing to rest his ankle, and then they have the bye week in week 6. So it'll be 4 weeks where he gets to heal that ankle before he comes back. Unfortunately, that first game back is the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think that he will be out for all of those games, unfortunately. So again, that is my prediction here, or I guess you could say it's not going on I'm not putting this on the record. I'm not putting this on the board. But that is official, unofficial prediction that he will be out for the next 3 weeks. So moving on here to the predictions coming off the board. I've got 3 coming off the board. All 3 are incorrect. I said the Vikings beat the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, they did not. J.J. McCarthy throws 3+ touchdown passes. He did not. 1 second. Oh, excuse me. And then final prediction I had was Jordan Mason scores a touchdown versus the Falcons. Nobody scored a touchdown against the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. So all 3 of those are incorrect. That is 25 total correct predictions. That did not change. Out of 69 total predicted, that is 36%. That still leads the clubhouse in all of the 4 segments predictions that we do. So moving on now to the 3 going on the board. First prediction is that the Vikings beat the Bengals. The Vikings and Bengals, I saw there was a line, I think it was the ESPN betting sportsbook, had the line at 44.5 for the over-under. I will take the under on that. Again, disclaimer, I'm not giving gambling advice. I am just predicting for myself. Do not take my advice to gamble here. But I'm going to predict that they combine for less than 44.5 points. And then KOC will challenge a play against the Bengals, and he will win that challenge. All right, moving on to the final segment of today's episode, the Power Ranking segment. If you are new here, the Power Ranking segment is a segment we do at the end of each episode, and we take a Minnesota sports topic, and we make basically the power ranking. We rank the top 10, basically, of whatever topic that is. And it is my opinion. It is my whatever topic it is it's that list ends up being my opinion. So please down below let me know if you think I am right or wrong. Also, if you have an idea for a topic that you want me to rank, please let me know down below. You can also email the show. It's thefrozennorth30@gmail.com. But yeah, so let me know if you think I'm right or wrong on this. This one was a fan suggestion. We are doing the best athletes that were born in the state of Minnesota. So they had to be born in Minnesota, and yeah. So first one here coming in at number 10. I also on this graphic I put what city they were from too. So for coming in at number 10 from Bloomington, Minnesota is Kent Herbeck. Obviously, he's a 2-time World Series champion. He's an all-star. He had 38.6 WAR. Just massive piece of both of those Twins World Series teams. And he comes in at number 10. At number 9, go over to St. Paul. We got Phil Housley coming in at number 9 here. Phil Housley is a Hall of Famer. He's a 7-time All-Star. He's Olympian, Olympic silver medalist. Yeah, just a great, one of the most iconic hockey players from Minnesota. At number 8 here, we stick with the Rinks, but we go up north from Roseau, Minnesota. Neil Broughton. Again, he was on the Miracle team that won the gold medal at the Olympics over the Soviet Union. He was a Stanley Cup champion, and he was a 2-time All-Star. He comes in at number 8. Number 7, we have from the courts, we have number 7 here from Hibbing to Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale, again, Hibbing, Hall of Famer, 3-time NBA champion, 7-time NBA All-Star, 2-time Sixth Man of the Year, Kevin McHale. Again, being from Hibbing, was fantastic NBA player. Number 6 here, from St. Paul, grew up at Buck Hill. We have Lindsey Vaughn. She was a 4-time Olympian, 3-time Olympic medalist, 1 gold medal. She was an 8-time world champion medalist, with 2 of them being gold medalists. One of, if not the greatest skiers ever, and in my opinion, as you'll see here, the greatest skier from the state of Minnesota. So there's a spoiler for you for the rest of this list. I don't have any other skiers on this list. But we move into the top 5 here. Number 5 from St. Paul is Paul Molitor. Again, spent most of his career with the Milwaukee Brewers. Spent a couple years with the Twins. He managed the Twins for a couple years too, but we will talk more about his playing career because he was a better player than he was a manager. He was part of the 3,000 hit club. He was a Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, World Series champ, World Series MVP, 4-time Silver Slugger. Paul Molitor. We're sticking in St. Paul. We're sticking with the Diamond here. Number 4, I've got Joe Mauer coming in here at number 4. Again, most recent Twins Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time AL batting champ. The only time a catcher has done that in AL history. He's a 2009 AL MVP. He's a 6-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover at the catcher position. Number 3 here, I have from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Larry Fitzgerald. Again, I've got Larry Fitzgerald in my top 4 all-time wide receivers. I've got Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, and Larry Fitzgerald as my top 4. He was an 11-time Proler. He is second all-time in receiving yards. And most impressively, he has more tackles. He has tackled more players than he has dropped passes. As a wide receiver, he has tackled more players than he's an offensive player. And his job is to try to catch the ball. And he has tackled more players than he has dropped the ball in the NFL. So I think that could be a reason enough alone to put him in the top 10 with how good he was on that end. And that's not, I'm not saying that he had bad quarterback play and he was just had to tackle everybody, but it's more of a testament to how few passes he dropped. So I think it's like 45. I think I saw it was 45 tackles and like 38 drop passes or something like that. So again, glue hands Fitzgerald coming in at number 3. At number 2, I did not know he was from Minnesota until I was doing research for this list. But from all the way up in Hibbing, number 2 is Roger Maris. He was the true home run king, the non-steroided home run king for a very long time until Aaron Judge recently broke that a couple years ago. He had 61 home runs in 1961. He's a 2-time MVP, 7-time All-Star. He has 275 home runs in his career, and he is a 3-time World Series champion. But coming in at my number 1 spot from St. Paul, Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, a 64.2 WAR, 7 Gold Gloves, 6-time Silver Slugger, Dave Winfield. I have Dave Winfield as my best athlete that was born in the state of Minnesota. All right, that'll do it for episode 37 of the 301 show. I hope you enjoyed. Again, if you did like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Comment down below. Again, comment a question for the 1-year anniversary special. Again, you can email me. It's thefrozennorth30@gmail.com. It'll be down below in the description too. But that is coming up again next Wednesday. That will be posted. So again, hope you like this one, and we will see you next time. Peace.